Now, welcome back. Now, to start this morning in terms of engagements, for someone who flees or runs away from the police to avoid capture is called a fugitive. Now, for the past weeks, we have seen numerous reports on fugitives in the country, and it is with this background that we engage Chief Inspector Itetila Shapaka from NamPol in the Khomas Region on this matter. Good morning, Chief Inspector, and welcome to the show.
Good morning to you, good morning to the viewers out there, and many thanks for having me this morning.
Brilliant. Now, there have been numerous reports in the media across the country. Talk to us about how things like this happen. What is a fugitive? How does it happen that someone becomes a fugitive?
Well, by definition, a fugitive is obviously somebody who is fleeing from the law. So this can happen in two instances. It can either be somebody who is fleeing before they are arrested, and or somebody that is obviously having been arrested and then they escaped. So whilst being arrested and then they escape from the lawful custody of police officials or peace officers, whoever it is that have placed them in custody, then they're regarded as fugitives of the law. Now, the reports that we've seen is mostly of wanted persons, people that the general public is being requested by the police officials to assist in tracing, as far as commission of offenses or to answer to charges. Remember, in terms of our law, that is the Criminal Procedure Act, there is a provision that there are 4 ways to secure a suspect or wanted persons or accused persons' attendance in court, which are arrest, written notice, summons, as well as indictment. And you're saying we are mostly inclined with the arrests. So if somebody commits an offense and then eventually they to answer to these charges that they are brought before the court, then they have to be arrested. Now we've seen that some people, as soon as they're arrested, either they flee or they escape from lawful custody, and that is what has them regarded as fugitives of the law.
Okay. Now, in terms of these fugitives of the law, what do you think is causing the instant increase in the number of fugitives over the past couple of weeks?
Well, it depends. It depends to the type of fugitives that we are looking at. We have seen for some offenses, obviously, like a robbery, for instance, a robbery with aggravating circumstances. You know, at times the evidence is overwhelming, and one obviously braces themselves from being sentenced, obviously convicted, and they see themselves serving a custodial sentence in that regard. And that, I think, is one of the driving factors that really one would want to, you know, stay away from the police or the peace officers, because obviously they will spend some time away from the family and stuff. It is just so much out there. You would also want to incline it to perhaps, you know, security measures not to being as stiff as they ought to be, because we have seen people escape from hospitals, for instance. Somebody is taken to get medical attention, and all of a sudden they take off, and then that is it. Or those that have escaped from custody or even asked to pick up medication at their houses, and then all of a sudden they escape. So there are just so many circumstances that surrounds these people fleeing from custody. We have also seen people, you know, escape from police vans, you know. It is just a myriad of factors that contributes to these escapes, and I cannot really attribute any of them to a specific factor, because then there are so many factors that contribute to some of these things.
Okay. Now, what are the dangers to these fugitives pose if they are not rearrested?
The dangers are plenty. I mean, the fugitive poses a danger to himself. One of the reasons why fugitives are placed under lawful custody, or rather the custodial sentence sort of, is to protect them from themselves, because they might hurt themselves. If you see the procedure or sort of the mandatory instructions that we have as police officers, is to sort of search them and remove anything that they can hurt them with themselves. So if somebody escapes from custody, you expect them either to hang themselves or even hurt others, you know. Or they might be on rampage to sort of commit the same offenses over and over again. I've mentioned an example of robbery with aggravating circumstances. So obviously, when they're out there, they are a danger to society as well. So if they are not rearrested, they pose a threat to the society, they pose a threat to the community out there as well as the general public members.
Okay. Let's talk about some of those challenges that law enforcement face, especially when dealing with situations such as this of fugitive. What are the challenges?
We start with dangerous suspects, for instance. If you look at the dangerous suspect, you want assistance from the general public. Yet if you consider this fugitive as armed and dangerous, it is also difficult for the public members to engage or sort of, we have seen many times where people resort to mob justice because they are also tired of these criminals. So now if a criminal is dangerous, then it's difficult for them to approach or apprehend as citizens arrest, as we refer to it. But there are also many challenges out there, one of them being obviously our public members harboring these criminals, harboring in a sense that even if they know of where the suspect is or the fugitive is, they do not provide that information to the police, so they are not cooperative per se. And that makes it a little bit difficult for the police to obviously trace the suspects or the fugitive and rearrest them. But where you don't have cooperation from the general public, it is a challenge in itself. And we are also saying where these fugitives are armed and dangerous, they pose a threat. We also cannot be everywhere every time as a police force, so that means fugitives being out there requires a great deal from the general public members to also work hand in hand with the police. So these are some, but of many challenges that we face.
Now, besides the assistance and also possibly engaging what you are referring to as a citizen's arrest, what else can the public do to help the police force?
Well, provision of information is critical in these instances. There is something that I forgo saying, especially with regards to an offense that was committed. You see, if a fugitive is out there, they also potentially go and intimidate witnesses. They also have that, just a sense of intimidation with regards to their presence out there. So that means victims of the crimes that they have already committed are not comfortable. Victims might not turn up at court to provide evidence or testify in some of these ongoing criminal offenses. So it tells you that with fugitives, and that is one of the reasons why you find at court that one of the reasons the bail is denied is to protect the victims, or it's in the interest of society or administration of justice. So if the victim is already out there, he might tamper with evidence for one, he might intimidate witnesses, he might also be a danger to the other community members. So we are just saying there is more that can be done. The general public members can provide information to the police, even just on the whereabouts or where they have seen them, or just to go to the nearest police station or any police officer that's known to them. Nowadays we are moving with technology, so there's even social media posts. One can just throw in something there that might lead us to the successful apprehension of these criminals. But I can tell you that lack of cooperation or unwillingness from the general public also undermines the efforts of law enforcement.
Okay. Now, any parting words from you this morning before I let you go?
Yes, I almost called you Denver, sorry. A lot, I'm not renaming you this morning. Today, the 30th of September, is the last day of our amnesty. Remember, we had this discussion at some point. It's the last day, so the law enforcement and Namibian police force, to be specific, we still want to encourage the general public to bring in any unlicensed firearms without fear of being prosecuted. Unwanted firearms, armaments, anything that they can bring to the police, and then they will not be prosecuted. So it's just a final call to those that are still in possession of same to make sure that they are surrendered to the police or to the nearest police station.
Okay. Well, Chief Inspector, thank you very much for making time to speak to us this morning.
It is a pleasure talking to you a lot.
Now, that was Chief Inspector Itetila Shapaka from NamPol in the Khomas Region, talking to us about the issue of fugitives and also emphasizing that the public has a role to play, especially when it comes to providing information. Additionally, also indicating to us that the 30th of September being today is a final mark in terms of handing over those, in terms of the Amnesty campaign that the Ministry of Home Affairs, Security and Immigration is running, specifically in NamPol, when it comes to handing over unlicensed firearms and also those unwanted firearms as well as armaments, and also noting that there will be no persecution that will be going towards those that are surrendering those arms. So please do the right thing, go to the nearest police station and hand over such items. Now, GMN continues shortly after the short break.